Hey, welcome back to TEDxMellenStreet Live, you guys. We are here with another guest speaker, one of our speakers who are actually going to be a part of the TEDxMellenStreet that's happening on November the 18th in the historic American Theater in Hampton. And I am your host, Sacha Walton, as well as the event curator for TEDxMellenStreet. I can't talk this morning, you guys. But anyway, I'm here with another speaker, Dr. Brianna Gaynor, who is with us today. And I just want to just say thank you so much for watching our episodes so far. We just want to be able to highlight our speaker and sponsors before you guys and just to let you know who they are and to engage and everything. So I'm excited about what we're doing. And I want to say thank you to my sponsor, Connected Compass, with Tanya Fields. They're out here on the mission to increase minority participation with cybersecurity, technology, and they're all about the whole STEM world, you guys. So you definitely want to check them out. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Dr. Brianna Gaynor and say, hey, how are you
Hi, how are
today?
you? I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. I'm still getting my tongue together. I feel like I'm tongue tied. See, I can't even talk. I need to go back to sleep and wake back up again and start over. So, but thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I just want you to tell the world who is Dr. Brianna Gaynor.
Well, I am a clinical psychologist. So, I talk to people and I help people figure out what's going on and what's the best plan of action for whatever they're struggling with. So, that is my absolute favorite thing to do, just to help people connect with them and help them to feel not alone and understood. So I have a private practice in Johns Creek, Georgia called Peace of Mind Psychological Services. And we see children, teens, and adults. And we just really work to help people find peace in every circumstance.
That is awesome. I always say that people who go into the whole psychology world,
Mm-hmm.
they're special people. Like teachers, you guys are special people. Like my daughter, she came out with her psychology degree. She's a nurse, but she has a psychology degree. But my niece, she
Mm.
is tracking on. Like she's ready to go into, she has her master's, she's
Oh,
ready to go into a
awesome.
doctorate program or something like that. She's thinking about doing all in psychology. So, I mean, to really deal with the aspects of the mental health and how
Mm-hmm.
people think and all the things that make you tick mentally. You guys are very special in doing that and
Thank you.
have to be gifted to want to do that. So I know for you, you're out here, you do a lot, you're speaking in a lot of places, your articles everywhere. So there has to be a passion. So what is your passion? How passionate are you about mental health?
I'm very passionate. I think it's really important to just demystify the stigma of mental health. And it's interesting because I think during the pandemic, mental health was much more of a buzzword. We talked about it more. There were more services, but there's still a stigma. Even, culturally in my family, talking to my grandmother, they're still like, oh, we don't talk about our issues. And so just really being able to normalize the fact that we all have emotions. We all struggle to cope. We all have loss. We all just have hard times. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help because if you go to your doctor, if you're sick, or you have a cut or something's not going on, something doesn't feel right, you're not sure what it is, you'll go to your doctor to get help. It's the exact same thing. And I really feel honored to be able to do it and to be a minority because I also recognize that some people come to me because we look alike. And that helps me to also encourage them that we can also still take care of and seek help for our mental health.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for minorities, that is one thing that has, a lot of people been touching in on that, especially like celebrities. And, you
Mm-hmm.
have Taraji Henson, she's, being open about what she's been through, and all these other things. But you're right, you want to demystify, the myths out there because it is saying, let's keep your issues hush.
Yeah,
Don't talk about it,
mhm.
especially in our communities.
Absolutely.
Growing up,
Yeah.
I know a lot of times people be like, oh no, that's grown folk business.
Mhm.
Or, even as child, so don't realize, the implications that it have when people, especially as a child, growing
Absolutely.
up and then how that goes into, how we are as adults. So I think a lot of things can be minimized or eradicated if we really talked about our emotions, like you said, dealt with the issues, family issues, like all these things impact so many people. And yeah, and you're right with the pandemic. I mean, I think honestly, with the pandemic bringing a lot of it out, but I think that the pandemic caused a lot
Oh,
of
absolutely.
mental
Yeah.
health issues in people. Like, what is your take on that right now when you see people act out? Like, so many people are enraged and furious. It's like a lot of crazy stuff going on more now.
Mm-hmm.
What is your
I,
take?
I wonder if it led to it happening or it just brought up what we were able to hide. I think a lot of times you're so busy, you're going about life, you're used to doing things the way you do them, and you're able to contain your emotions. You just kind of push through. That's what we're taught. You just push through, you do what you need to do. And what the pandemic did was it made us sit down with ourselves, with people that we probably didn't want to spend as much time with as possible. It took away that social aspect that I don't know any of us really recognized we needed so much, myself included. And I think it brought a lot of things to the surface, a lot of struggles that maybe we never dealt with. I think so. I think now it's the residual of all of those things. And I also think that although it's interesting because one of the questions I would ask, especially in the midst of the pandemic, was what was this impact whenever I would talk to clients? What was the impact of the pandemic?
Yeah.
And while I expected it to be negative, it wasn't negative for everyone. There were a lot of people that was like, it was great. I got to connect with these people. I got to do this. Like people had positive things. But I think that for those of us who maybe didn't have positive things, had a lot of loss and things we weren't able to deal with, once life picked up again, we just continued on and never really dealt with it. So maybe this is the result of not dealing with the things that came up and trying to push them down. And, your emotions demand to be dealt with. So either you deal with them or they will deal with you. And I think that that's what we're seeing right now.
If that is a power face right there, your
Yeah.
emotions are meant to be dealt. Like, that is so true, because if we don't deal with it, the emotions, like, I know for myself, if I hold things in emotionally, I feel it. Like when it's dealing with me, I feel it all in my body. I feel the anxiousness, if it's anger, I feel it rising up. I'm trying to keep it down, or the sadness, or whatever it is. And that is such a true statement. I love that. I'm gonna have to that's gonna be on the cap for everything. Your video right here, I'm telling you. So I love it.
I mean, it's true. I've had times where I've had emotions that I didn't want to deal with or that I tried to push down, and eventually it came out in a way that I did not want it to come out, where I either blew up with someone, I cried when I didn't want to, like whatever it was. So I'm like, it might be better to just deal with this when I need to versus it happened when I don't want it to and I can't hold it in anymore, because that happens too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an energy, it's that
Absolutely.
energy flow, and it's like you can't contain energy when it's revving up, or the power of it. So we don't really think of it like that. It's that, when they say emotions, a lot of people break it down. It's like, oh yeah, it's that energy in motion in you. So it's like so many different things.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal that you're out here talking about it and doing the work that you're doing. And
Thank you.
it's we're gonna switch it up a little bit. So
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about our theme for TEDxMellenStreet is power of inclusion. And I've asked everybody this question so far. So how important is the power of inclusion in your everyday life and in society?
It's essential. I think inclusion is about all those different things that make you who you are, all those unique things. And I think that's what needs to be highlighted more than anything. In an age where a lot of people struggle because they're trying to be like someone else, they're looking at what social media says or how their friends are and what they wish they could be. I always say that you can, on your best day, you can only be a pale version of someone else, but you can be the best version of yourself. And so for me, it's about understanding that there's something unique that I bring that no one else can, and being able to bring that to my clients every day, the people in my life, being able to embrace and love that about myself. And for society, really, hopefully, if we can look at the things that make us unique and special, it'll be a much better world with people who just love who they are and work on their purpose, and they're not trying to be anyone else but who exactly they were created to be.
Yeah, that's really good.
Mhm.
And that even ties into the mental health part as well.
Absolutely.
Especially with dealing with social media. When you mention that, how people get online and they compare themselves, they see what's going on, and half of the stuff may not even be real. It's a facade for some people,
It
because
is.
anything online, you can act the way you want to act, you can show up the way you want to show up.
Absolutely.
No
I
one's
don't put my
gonna.
worst days on. I do not put those pictures up when I feel horrible, when I'm sad. Those are not the posts that I'm putting up. It just isn't.
Right, right. Then you have those who do the tell all.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
there are extremes. Yeah.
Very extreme. But when you have somebody who's, comparing themselves and looking at it, and
Mhm.
it's just like, you know what, I want to be like that. I want to be
Mhm.
that person. And they don't know that other person may have the world caving in on them,
Absolutely.
and that's one of the things that, I became passionate about on the entrepreneurship side,
Mhm.
because you see that all the time. And it's like, people, if you just tell the real truth about what you're really going through,
Yeah.
like how much that does for yourself. But it
Absolutely.
also let people know who are, on the entrepreneurial journey. It's like, yeah, you know what, things are going to happen. It's not going to be all peaches and cream all the time.
Not at all.
I can expect
Normalize
that.
it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Expect that things aren't always going to go well. And failure is not a bad thing. I think that's the other thing, that we are always looking for wins, which is great. But failure is also a part of the wins, because it teaches you what not to do. It just teaches you your best lessons are through the things that don't go well. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. But if we knew that, maybe we would be like, okay, this is normal. Then you'll keep pushing.
yeah, yeah. I like
Yeah,
that. I like that point. Failure is not a bad thing.
it's
And a
not.
lot of people hold on to failure like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. And I've been there myself. Be like, oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
I failed again. I guess because maybe I got this little inner perfectionist going on with me sometimes. So it's just like, ah. But I had to learn. But then it's like, with myself or maybe some other people out there who are watching, it's like, when you do embrace the fact that failure, it does bring something good out of it. It
Mhm.
gives you a different aspect of how to look at things and perspectives,
Mhm.
and teaches you how not to do that again. you
Absolutely.
know
Absolutely.
it is a breakthrough, factor or moment in time that you can actually embrace if you look at it from that perspective. So that's really a great point that you've made. Now, with your talk,
Yes.
without getting into the talk,
Okay.
why is it important to you to bring this talk to the stage at TEDx Melon Street?
Because perspective is everything. And a lot of times, what gets into our way is the way that we look at a situation. So, we're talking about failure. That's a good example. It's a lot of times the way we look at it. And I'm not saying it's pleasant, or, you're smiling through it and you're like, yes, I want to fail some more. That's not the point. But the point is, perspective can really help us to have resilience and to continue in situations, because a lot of times we're so close to our breakthrough,
Mhm.
but we give up before we get there. And so, really focusing on how we can use our perspective for our good, for our mental health, for achieving, for doing all the great things in life, I think is really important. So, I'm super excited to just talk about how a little change can make a huge difference in somebody's life.
Awesome, awesome. I'm excited too. I'm looking forward to
Excited.
it.
Thank you.
We have like a total of 19 speakers for the stage, and going through the auditions with everyone, it was just like phenomenal. It was really hard to even make the selections. Like, I'm the type of person, we would have been on stage for the whole weekend because I would have had everybody up there. But I had to have a team to help me stay disciplined because I would give it all. I'm just that type of person. And
Mhm.
you know, but to narrow it down to the 19, and I know that anyone who does come, or you're watching after the fact, when you get it out there in the videos and stuff, the takeaways that Brianna is going to bring and everyone else is going to bring to give you guys to take away and really be phenomenal in your lives. So, you know, thank you so much for being a part. Thank you in advance for being a part of the event, and just adding the extra flair and flavor that's going to come from it. And I'm so excited. So, and I want you guys to be excited as well. I want to thank you all for watching this episode of TEDx Mellon Street Live. Dr. Brianna Gaynor, I thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having
Any
me.
last words that you want to give to the people before we go?
Your mental health is very important. Don't neglect yourself. We take care of everyone else, but on the plane, they tell you put the mask on yourself first so you can help other people. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. It's not selfish, it's selfless. That's how you do your best in the world. So make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And once again, thank you to our sponsor, Connected Compass, with Tanya Fields, the founder. And thank you again, Dr. Brianna. And thank you, everyone. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. And we'll be back with another
Bye.
episode. Bye.